Welcome back to RealTalkTwinCities.com. I'm Eric Purius with Bell Mortgage, along with
Cheryl Kempenek, Coldwell Banker Burnet.
Donna Quanrud, Coldwell Banker Burnet.
And Uriah Houg with Executive Title.
Uriah is with us from Executive Title. As promised, he's going to deliver answers that you may not even know that you didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
The unknown unknowns, as a former Secretary of Defense once said. And we have the answers to our contest first. We asked, what's the most expensive house in the world? It's not a house, but, well, it is a house. It's a home, not a house. The most expensive home in the world. And I'm going to solicit our in-studio folks here for their best guess. Cheryl, what do you think?
I would say the most expensive home in the world is $100 million.
$100 million. And you, Uriah?
Well, you know, I might go a little higher and say $150 million.
Okay. And Donna?
Whoa, I think, with a Price is Right kind of a
Right. 150 million in one?
in one.
150 million in one?
Yeah.
Donna's the winner!
Oh,
Yay!
awesome.
Come on.
Cheater.
All right. It is actually $1 billion.
What?
And
We were way low.
yeah, $1
Does
billion.
somebody actually live there?
Yeah. Mukesh Ambani, a billionaire. He's worth about $21 billion. It's a 27-story, 400,000 square foot skyscraper residence named after a mythical island in the Atlantic. Has 6 underground parking levels, 3 helicopter pads, a health level, and requires about 600 staff to run it. It is the most expensive home by far, with a construction cost topping $1 billion. They did try to get traditional financing. I think the comps were a little tough.
Yeah, I would imagine. And I'm going to speculate that this guy made his money in real estate.
You're partially correct. Yeah, that's right. He's a real estate developer.
Huh.
So
Interesting.
we've got something to shoot for, I guess. Maybe we should.
Yeah, we've got a little work to do.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, I'm going to start saving my allowance.
And how much can we qualify for, Eric?
Well, you can reach us at realtalktwincities.com or give me a call at 952-905-5757, and we will do our best to get you approved for $1 billion loan.
I know you can do it.
No promises. The rates are low. And anytime that you buy or sell a home, as you probably know or have heard, a title company is involved. But what exactly does a title company do? Uriah is here from Executive Title. He's Director of Operations of Executive Title, and you can get on their website at etofmn.com. That's Executive Title of Minnesota, etofmn.com. Welcome, Uriah.
Thank you.
All right, so I put the question to you. What does a title company do exactly? What are all the different things that they handle in a transaction?
You know, ironically, we're typically behind the scenes in a transaction, but we do quite a bit.
Uh-huh.
Our job is to represent buyers and sellers in regards to the transfer of title of real property, i.e., our job is to make sure that when a person comes in to buy a property with a new mortgage or whatever the case may be, that they have the ability to purchase that property free and clear. Now what that means is essentially that all mortgages, valid liens against the property are either satisfied, paid off, or removed from title prior to the transfer.
And how do you
to the
do
new
that
owner.
exactly? I mean, you go down to the county, you look it up online.
Absolutely, yeah. We do a variety of things. You know, in Minnesota, it's a very complicated state to do this in. You know, Hennepin County is one of our major counties that most people do a lot of research in. And the idea behind that is, you know, they do a lot of stuff online, but there's still, in the transfer of title, we do a 40-year search, taking a property back to its inception, i.e. where it broke off from the state of Minnesota. So what we'll do then is look at it and pull abstracting is what it's called. Abstracting is the detailed transfer of title between every possible person that's ever actually owned the property.
Okay.
And we go through and satisfy all the liens against those properties as they transferred.
Or verify that there are none.
Correct.
Okay, what, like a mechanic's lien, for example?
Well, mechanic's lien is kind of an interesting thing. It's, if somebody does some work to a property, say prior to the transfer of title, they'll have to prove that that work was paid for. Otherwise, the person who did the work, if they didn't get paid, can put what's called a mechanic's lien on the property. And a mechanic's lien, especially today's market is something that we're seeing pop up quite a bit, where mechanic's liens are not satisfied. New construction. We see a lot of new construction right now where mechanic's liens are becoming somewhat of an issue. And essentially what that means is, before the person who is ultimately purchasing the new construction home can buy it, we have to go out and find the person who performed the work, make sure that they were paid, and receive an actual physical document from them that then gets recorded against the property as well.
So you make sure that the title is clean, that there's unencumbered.
Correct. The
Right.
only way to truly transfer title in the state of Minnesota is to have a clean title.
Gotcha. What about the case of, say, foreclosure or divorce or other instances when something can show up on title? Have you seen that happen, or?
Ironically, we're seeing still a lot of foreclosure properties that have they've been purchased by the original owner, and now they're going to resell them. And they are kind of creating some problems in what we're doing. Sometimes those foreclosures were performed quickly, weren't properly handled. Everybody heard of the robo-signing incidents back in the day, and properly taking care of the transfer of title, it just wasn't happening. I actually had one the other day where we were looking at a property where it went through 2 separate foreclosures within the last 4 years.
Wow.
Which was very, very difficult, and especially since the first foreclosure wasn't handled properly. So the transfer of title to the first owner after the foreclosure, when it didn't happen properly, they owned the property, but they weren't allowed to sell it. Hence the reason it went through a second foreclosure. I actually helped the seller and buyer in that third transaction away from it, where what they did, what we had to do was go back to the original foreclosing attorney to get proper documentation that there was no existing liens out there. It was not easy to do since it happened 5 years ago, and federal law doesn't require that they hold those documents for that long.
Gotcha.
One thing that I just want to make clear to everybody is we're making real estate sound pretty complicated right now, and a lot of the problems that come up with title work as a buyer or seller, you're never going to even notice because you have somebody like Uriah working behind the scenes. And the other thing that I want to mention is the real estate business for all of us here is really a relationship business. And when you are an experienced realtor, lender, title person, you want to work with other people that are extremely experienced. And so everybody here has a long-term relationship. We know that we can count on each other to get things done.
That's right.
And that's vital for you. So you want to make sure you're working with professionals, and because somebody like Uriah, you might not really know how to meet him or find him, even though as a buyer or a seller, you always have the right to decide who's going to be your realtor, who's going to be your lender, who's going to be the title company. So even if for some reason you didn't want to work with myself or Donna or Eric, you could still find Uriah and know that he would be there to make sure that you're getting a clear title.
That's right, Cheryl. And truthfully, I can tell you horror stories all day and all night, but that's 1% of my business. 99% of what we do is very clean, very neat, very easy. Like you say, the buyers and sellers typically don't even know that we exist until they show up at my office, and we offer them pop coffee or water and sit them in a room and have a nice conversation about transferring the title from their properties.
Yeah. So you guys conduct the actual closing.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
Yes.
you're the conduit between the buyer, the seller, the agents, and the lender.
Truthfully, my job in a nutshell is to know the documents in front of me, make sure that they're signed and executed properly, and whether it's dual representation at a table representing a buyer or a seller, to make sure that the client is comfortable, is calm, is taken care of to the best of our abilities,
Right.
and that that we represent them the way that they intend us to do so.
Our goal always is to come to that closing table and just not have any issues. We just show up with pens in hand, smiles on our faces, and it's a celebration because everything's been done ahead of time, because we've got a good team around us
Correct.
doing everything that they do. So
Yep.
there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that Uriah and his team go through that, like you said earlier, Cheryl, a buyer or seller doesn't even see.
Yeah, and most of the time when people show up, the first thing I say to them is, relax guys, take it easy.
Mhm.
The hardest part of this transaction has already been, it's taken place. This is the fun part, this is the celebration.
And in addition to representing buyers and sellers, you also do closings for refinances, right?
Correct, yeah, absolutely.
Because that's one of the things that people don't really think about is the importance of making sure that first mortgage is recorded and satisfied,
Correct.
so that when they go to sell later on, they don't have two mortgages sitting there and they're trying to figure out how to make sure they have clear title. So you would ensure that as well.
Absolutely, and the funny thing is, you know, when you purchase a property, there's two types of title insurance that you can purchase at the time. There's a lender's policy, which will be required every time you have a loan, and there'll also be an owner's policy, which is an optional policy, but we always recommend that to be purchased at that time, because what it does guarantee at the sale of the property or at a refinance is clear title, i.e. you will be able to either transfer or refinance and record new mortgages.
So if something, you're saying if you buy the owner's policy and something comes up in the future, then the title company is on the hook to clear it up, is that right?
That's correct. That's what we offer is representation through legal representation.
Okay, and if you don't have it, then a homeowner would possibly have to fend for themselves.
Or
if they-
hire an attorney and
Hire an
spend a
attorney
lot of
themselves.
money.
So that's what you pay for with the title insurance.
Correct. That's what you pay for.
Gotcha. We're going to come back with a little bit more from Uriah. We're also going to cover the 10 neighborhoods that we love. I'm Eric Pirius with Bell Mortgage, along with Cheryl on Real Talk Twin Cities, AM 1280 The Patriot. We'll be right back.